Alright, seems that I'm online now. So, welcome to a new stream in which I am building a city in Classic. This time we are in version 23A_01, which adds a few new things. As you might know, it adds, for example, sounds. So, I can hear the walking sounds, block breaking sounds, but for some reason there are no block tracing sounds. There's also music, which is why I've decided to not use the typical background music that I've been using until now, the soybean music. And there are, of course, also the wall blocks, or love blocks as they are called in the old versions. Anyway, I've done some buildings in between the streams with the new blocks. For example, I've started working on some corals over here. I believe, if I remember correctly, the corals were suggested by Neon Light in the stream in which I was building this ship over here. My idea is to make it crowded. Maybe I've added a bit too much, but I think that's fine. I think it looks nice, but it's still unfinished. I plan to expand them further on into this sort of river thing. Anyway, I think as I've said, I feel like it might be a bit too crowded, but I think it looks especially nice if you view it from underwater. I think it's got a nice feel to it if you're just swimming through them. You got these coral leaves, some seaweed. It's got a nice atmosphere. Another thing that I've worked on is a beach area, sort of over here, where I've added some umbrellas and some beach towels underneath. I might also work on this beach area over here, but that's for later date. So we've got various beach umbrellas with the towels underneath them. I've tried to use sort of various designs and colors so that no two would be the same, and I think it turned out kind of well. I've also added this area over here. You get some changing booths where you can change into the swimwear. You've got a bar thing where you can buy some drinks, not non-alcoholic, maybe alcoholic, not sure. And next to this beach area, I've also decided to build a playground. Not sure if it's positioned well like this since it's near a road, and not sure if a playground would be near the beach, but I decided to do it like this. I got a few things here, something to sort of something for the kids to play on. So, not sure what this is called, can't remember right now, but I got a few slides over here with various ways to get to them. You got a pole that you can climb, the children can climb up, a steep thing that they can climb a staircase, and maybe like a ladder over here, some things to swing on. We can get some sand and some monkey bars, along with some wool blocks that represent sort of toys that might be strewn around. There is also a swing over here and a slide. The one, I think this place turned out sort of nice. And I've also finished the construction site that I worked on in the previous stream. I've added some construction equipment like, for example, this excavator, or at least it's supposed to be a excavator. You got a bulldozer and a road roller. I've also tried making a truck but that ended up terribly. I've tried to make it sort of 2 blocks wide because the roads are 5 blocks wide. Oh, you can sort of 2 blocks, 2 blocks, so 2 blocks lanes, but the truck ended up looking terrible. And I've also made this crane, which I think looks quite nice. It goes all the way up to the height limit, which isn't all that much, but I'd say it turned out quite well. And also I've used sponges because it's like the only card block that I had when I was finishing it, because I was finishing it in 19A_6 and didn't have access to the wall blocks. And now it's time to move on to the next thing that I've built, which you might have already caught glimpses of, which is a theme park of sorts, where I've used like a whole bunch of the bluff blocks to make various attractions. So I'm gonna walk there using the chill entrance. And here we are. We got various things over here. There's, for example, this swinging ship over here that children might enjoy. This stuff. Get here. Go here. There's the ticket booth, and once you buy the ticket, you can just go on and wait for the ride to start. And once it's over, you can leave through here. I've kind of did it with these sort of booths based on Roller Coaster Tycoon. I was inspired by that. Then there's also this ride where you sort of, I have to imagine that you sort of swing around. So once again, you can buy your tickets, go up, and just enjoy the ride. After that, there is also the roller coaster, which I believe should be like rideable once we get minecart and minecart tracks. Maybe I could make it actually rideable once we get road trails, or maybe even before then, using the boosters. So we basically, my idea is to basically go up and then sort of down through here and over this way, and make various twists and turns, go up again and return to the start. And I've also built this tent over here where I've tried to sort of use some kind of difficult shape to make it sort of look realistic, like it's being affected by gravity and tension. You've got these sort of bubbles that hold it up. And I think it turned out well. I've also tried adding some stuff on the inside. Tried making a giraffe, but it ended up looking terrible. But I still kept it because it looks kind of funny. I've added some balls over here. Maybe the clowns might use when doing the performance. And there's also this sort of these planks which represent a tightrope. Anyway, that's the tent. And there's also the Ferris wheel, which I made as big as I could. The top blocks are actually at the height limit, and I decided to use a sort of circle generator for this because I don't think I'll be able to build it without a guide. Yeah, and last but not least, I've also added some stalls over here where you can buy like various things. Like, for example, we got some balloons over here, some really big balloons. I like to think that they look like balloons, hopefully. And you can also do this area from above. I think looks quite nice, and from up here we can see that I'd say that I've built quite a lot so far. But anyway, now it is time to move on to the next build, which will be a hotel. Now I've also noticed that Griffin has mentioned that there is some bug with this version where I can move water, however I don't really know how to do that, so I'm gonna have to ask after the stream sometime when I remember. But anyway, now it is time to go to the location where I want to build the hotel. And here is the location where I want to build the hotel. As you can see, I've flattened it out in preparation for build. I'd say it's a pretty large area, which I'd say is well fit for this build. So I'm gonna make some preparations first, like marking where I would like to build, because I do have a rough idea as to how I want to build this hotel, but I haven't really planned things out yet. I think over here should be good. Sort of put one of the corners. And here seems to be the sort of area that I'm working with. Hopefully the music isn't too loud. But anyway, now I'm gonna start making some preparations. The first room that I would like to add is sort of lobby room where the reception desk will be. I think over here will be the entrance. I've decided that I want to make it 3 blocks wide, and now we're gonna choose the position where I want the reception. I think I want it sort of close to the entrance. Maybe. Maybe over here could be a good place. I'm gonna start working on a floor plan and such things. Now, I want this thing to be symmetrical, so I'm gonna sort of measure the distance away from the wall back here and make it so that, or I was thinking sort of make it symmetrical, but not sure if that's a good idea. I want to sort of, I think I will add sort of a lobby area where the guests who are going to check in will sit. Let me think a bit. But I think one thing that would be helpful for this build would be to build a sort of pillar next to it to know how far I can build, because I would like to have sort of several floors. However, it's kind of hard to tell where the build height is. So I'm gonna have a pillar of gravel to sort of show me. There we go. I'm adding these walls over here, but these are temporary. They're just here to give me a better idea as to how I want to do things. Now, I'm currently not talking much because I need to decide how I want to do things actually. But I think I'm first gonna work on things that I do know what to do, or try. I think I'm gonna start working stuff over there. I think that area will have like things like kitchen, maybe like a laundry room and a dining hall where the people will be able to eat. So let's start working on that. I think we will have a hallway over here that will lead over to the dining hall. Question is, how far should the dining hall be and how large it should it be? I think this sort of size should be nice, so I'm gonna start adding walls. And now I'm gonna start adding like tables and chairs. So before I start adding those, I think I'm gonna start working on the floor over here. And I think that for the floor I'm gonna use some planks. So let me just start placing them. Anyway, there we go. Now I'm gonna start adding some chairs and tables. And for those, I think I'm gonna use red table, red cloth to sort of represent like tablecloth, and white to sort of represent chairs, so that I don't use planks and logs again. I think it will look nice. So let's see, maybe we could have tables sort of in the corner over here. Although I think that should be fine. Let's see. This large should be good. Now some smaller ones. There we go. However, before I continue, I think I'm gonna add some carpet over here, which will sort of lead to like Swedish tables that will be over in the corner. I'm gonna build the tables around that. Although looking at this, I think I made the corridor a bit too wide. I think I'm gonna make it a bit block thinner. That will look better. And I think I'll use orange buff for this. There we go. And now back to the tables. And I think I'll use like different colors of tablecloth as well. This place more interesting. And over here would be some tables where you'll be able to grab the food. And on top of it, you got like various things. Maybe you got like some dispensers so that you can get some drinks and maybe some pots with like soups and stuff. It's been a long time since I've been to a place like this. Anyway, next to this, I'm thinking of putting a large kitchen where the food will be prepared, since it makes the most sense to sort of place it close to the dining hall. I'm just thinking what sort of floor should I use here, but I think that before I decide on what I'm gonna use, I'm first gonna get rid of the floor, get rid of the grass so that I can place on the floor. And while coloring the grass away, I've decided I'm gonna use sand as the floor. Now, I haven't actually seen a large kitchen that might be inside of a hotel, so I don't really know how they look, so we just have to sort of build how I imagine that they might look. So I'm gonna add some stoves, for example, and such, and just pretend that that's how they look. Also, I think I'll sort of divide this room into two parts and have a freezer over here. Because I feel like a kitchen this large is kind of an overkill. And I'm gonna use some gray cloth here as well. And here's where can be safe to build. Got some stuff over here, maybe got stoves, sinks. Not sure what they could represent, and maybe some storage, maybe some additional sort of creatures aside from the freezer over here. Where thinking of using some red to add some meat sort of hanging over here. But I think I'm gonna change the floor once again. And I think I'm gonna use some light grid over here. Now that this is done, I think I'm gonna also add a ceiling. I think I'm gonna make the rooms 4 blocks tall. Should be nice. Although I'm not gonna add any walls yet, I'm gonna decide on those later. And now it is time to start adding some food and stuff over here, so I'm gonna add some meat. That's sort of hanging from these hooks over here. Preferably not so close to the wall. I'm gonna kind of do it randomly so that it's not so uniform. Oh, not randomly, but sort of. I don't want to have just 2 rows like this. That would be kind of boring. And aside from these hanging meats, I'm also gonna add some of shelves over here so that stuff can be stored on them. I'm using stone and dark clay cloth because I like to imagine that they are metal shelves. Anyway, I think this should be good for the freezer. I'm gonna add the walls later once I decide how I want to do them. Now I'm gonna start working up, thinking of, I think I'm gonna, I've just realized one thing that I'm missing here, which is an entrance to the kitchen from the hallway. I think this position should be nice. And I'm also gonna extend this carpet that's over here. I think that will be nice. Anyway, now that it is done, I think I'm gonna work on the room that's opposite of the kitchen, which I think I'm gonna turn into a laundry room, like various washing machines and dryers. So first I'm gonna once again start by working on the floor. Which I think I'm gonna make out of gravel. And now that that is done, I'm gonna start working on the stuff inside, sort of equipment and stuff that will be in. I'm gonna start by adding some storage for the clothes. And next up, I'm gonna start by adding some washing machines and dryers. I think I'm gonna use white wool for that. Yeah, I'm gonna make them big since they are sort of industrial sites so that hotels can use them. And in the middle we have some sort of large table maybe to hold clothes. Not sure I am actually ever worked at a hotel, so I don't know how these things work. And maybe some more machines just in case. Might be useful to have more. Although, and also some more storage space. I think this should be good enough. So I think I'm gonna start working on the walls of this place. Gonna add some decorations, some windows and stuff. Let's see. First, I'm gonna need to decide if I want to keep these stone blocks over here. Oh, as you can see, I want to have some large, nice large windows over here. I was not allocated. I've kind of made a mistake. I wanted it to be symmetrical, but over here I've made it one block away from the corner, but here it's next to the corner. So we're gonna fix it. I'm also deciding on what sort of blocks do I want to use for the walls. Decided, I think I'm decided on the blocks, but I haven't really decided what other blocks I want to use. So for now, I'm just gonna keep adding these windows and then decide like how I'm doing that. I think windows like this should be good. I'm also gonna expand this carpet since I forgot to expand it after doing the table over here. And now for the walls, I think I'm gonna use white cloth along with the in the walls. I'm also gonna make these windows taller first. And now it's time to start working on the walls. Which does look kinda nice, but now the stone looks kinda out of place. I'm not sure what to place it with. Maybe with some planks, those could be nice. Also, it's looking kind of flat, so I'm gonna try to make it more three-dimensional a bit later. But for now, I'm gonna work on the walls by getting rid of the stone and also work on the walls on the inside. There we go. Almost. I think this looks quite nice. Although I think about it, I don't have been a good idea to make these windows taller, but I'm gonna decide on that later. For now, I'm gonna start working on the inside walls. And to make these walls more interesting, I'm gonna use some more carrot cloth. Just gonna pick out some colors. This should be good enough. So let's see. Kind of like this. I'd like to mention that they are sort of some paintings, since we don't really have any, so I'm just gonna use some fluff blocks like this, sort of represent some low resolution paintings. There we go. I think that looks somewhat nice. So I think I'm gonna now add a ceiling to this place, for which I think I'll use some white grey cloth. And there we go. Opening up, also realized that I can add some more small tables over here, or like, well, maybe just one table for like 2 people. There we go. And also another thing that I thought of is a table for like the staff. I think you've heard me, but anyway, here I've also added a sort of table for the staff where they might sort of take your room number. I remember that that's something that happened while I was in a hotel. Anyway, I think I'm gonna start adding some details, like maybe some sort of more cloth blocks on the table to represent like decorations, maybe like some vases and stuff. Something like this should be nice, and also some decorations to the above. Using old blocks to make some lanterns, hanging lamps, chandeliers, just lights in general. Basically by placing in a gold block and a yellow cloth block to represent the light. So that might be a bit too low. I think I'll just have the gold blocks there. Should be enough. I think this should be good enough like this. I just gonna work on the walls of the other sort of rooms that I've got over here that I've already built. And for the last thing, I'm gonna kind of extend the design that I already have. Hello Red. I'm currently working on a hotel, or at least trying to. Currently I'm working on the walls. Now let's see. Gonna add the all white glove over here. Well then, I hope you enjoy your pizza rolls. What is CRK, by the way? I don't think I've ever heard of it. See, that does sound kind of interesting. Anyway, now it's time for me to focus on these walls, which look kind of bland. I think to make them more interesting, I'm gonna try using some white grey cloth, sort of at the bottom maybe. That might look nice. Maybe. Well, I think I'm gonna start placing some more to see how I like it. That could also work. I'm gonna try that. I think, yeah, that does look better. I think I'm gonna keep it like that. True, it could be like a shadow, which would work since I'm thinking of adding like making these walls of more freely once I start building the second floor. It's kind of like this, but I'm still gonna need to decide on that. Now I'm gonna add some walls sort of on the inside of this place. Go to the hallway. And by the way, over here it's like a dining hall. We've got like various tables with some decorations, some lights, white walls with some paintings. I've tried to kind of represent the paintings over here. I don't think I'm also gonna add the light gray cloth on the inside walls. That will look nice as well. But this colorful wall is supposed to represent like paintings that are hanging on the wall, since we don't have any, so they're just low-res paintings, I guess. Low resolution. Anyway, now I'm gonna... Oh. I know, so this other wall is supposed to represent like the tables, so you got like the tablecloth, chairs, some decorations, and over here you got like the tables where we got like the various foods. You might have some pots, some dispensers with drinks, where you might get some like juice, Coke, Pepsi, stuff like that. And over here you got some soft carpet that leads you through this dining hall. And at the top you've got golden blocks which represent lights. And over here we got like a table where the hotel staff would sort of stand to, where you would, well, which would take your sort of room number, so they know if you've already gone to the, you already had your dinner or something. Now it is time to start working on the hallway, for which I'm gonna add, continue the plank trim. And also, since you weren't here yet, here is sort of a laundry room where you get like some storage space for the various laundry. And over here you get like washing machines along with some dryers and machines. And over here you got the kitchen along with a freezer where I've got some shelves and also some hanging meat represented with red cloth, and the meat is hanging on some hooks which are represented using these white cloth. I'm just thinking, what should I use for the walls? I think I'm gonna continue with the design that I have. I just use a combination of blocks and white cloth. And to make this all way more interesting, I'm also gonna add some paintings to this place, or try to represent some paintings using the glove blocks. Not sure what to think about it. Fire baby under my bed sounds kind of kinky. But anyway, there we go. Got some paintings in, so now I'm gonna add brown. You'll see, but for now I'm gonna add a ceiling to this place. And also add the trim of the light gray blocks at the top, because I forgot about them. And I think to make this whole way a bit more interesting, I'm gonna add some piece of blocks to the top, and also enjoy your pizza rolls. I think I'm gonna add some over here, sort of mark the entrance. I think that will make it look kind of better. I think it does look kind of nice. Or at least looks more interesting than it did before. I think another thing that I'm gonna add are some lights with gold blocks. Maybe I could use the blocks for that. What do you think of the It looks like that. I think that look kind of nice like that. Like the blocks are sort of holding them in place or something like that. It would be kind of nice if I had some like stairs so I could put some upside down stairs or something, maybe upside down stairs, but we don't. We only have like full blocks right now. Anyway, for now I'm gonna start working on the other rooms by adding the ceilings to them. I mean, like, when do I plan to upgrade to the next version? Well, currently I'm thinking of doing like 3 streams. So, 3 streams in this version. It's sort of 2 weeks apart. So, after like 4 weeks, I'm gonna update roughly, and that will be to version 28A_01. Since in that version I can use arrows, I can shoot arrows in creative, so I think it would be cool to like do something with them, maybe create a shooting range or something. And once I'm done with that version, I'm gonna move on to like 0.40, but not quite, because I've got something. What I'm going to say that once I'm done with the next version, I'm gonna move on to in-depth, because I've got something special prepared for 0.40. And once that is done, I'm done with in-depth, I'm gonna go back to this world and play in 0.40. I've actually written a post about it, my latest post about it, so you can read it, you might remember it. Oh, I'm not sure if updating to in-depth plus would work, even like the new blocks, and plus I want to this a vanilla playthrough. Well, I might use some mods in the future, but nothing like it would stray too much from vanilla. I'm talking about maybe like trying shaders in the future and such things which don't really affect the gameplay. Now, for the freezer, I think I'm gonna use some dark gray and white gray for the walls. And some lights on the inside. Although there isn't any space for them further back, but that should be fine. And this wall is something that I'm gonna work on a bit later. Oh, let's just walk around to see if I want to do anything more over here. Oh, it's time to do this ceiling for this room. Yeah, I think I'll show it once the sort of stream is ending. But for now I'm gonna start working on the walls of this sort of lobby that I have over here. And for that I'm first gonna expand the sort of blank trim that I have going on. I'm just using the blocks to mark the entrance so that I remember where it's supposed to be. Did you send like a message in the chat about me? Because I don't think I saw it. Or was it on Discord? Let's see, I need to decide the size of the lab room. I think I'm gonna make it. I guess it got modded. Not sure why. Okay. I'll see what you've done. Anyway, now I just need to decide. Well, first I think I'm gonna add some walls on the inside to separate the space, and then take out the floor. And now that it is cleared, I'm gonna start working on the floor, and the first thing that I'm gonna add is a red carpet, which will lead you to sort of all the important places. And I think I'm also gonna add a separation between the lobby room and this place. I think I'll have bathrooms. I've kind of forgotten about them. I need to find a place, but maybe somewhere in the corner. But I'm gonna decide on that later. For now, I need to once I decide on the actual floor plan. And I think it will also lead over there. I haven't decided what this place will be, but I'll likely have to decide after stream, since I've been streaming for almost 2 hours, which means that won't be streaming for much longer. Anyway, now it's time to start working on the floor. I'm thinking, should I use... I think I'm gonna try a combination of logs and planks with some logs sort of around the borders. That way I don't have sort of planks right next to these planks, since I have a lot of them there. Okay, I'll take a look at it later. Well, I've just saw the message, but I think I'm gonna take a look at it later. For now, I want to focus on the plants over here. And it seems like this thing is a square with with even, sides that are even length, so I know what design I'm gonna use. Which is a sort of checkerboard design on the inside. Although it seems that I've miscounted a bit. Oh, right. I've placed... I was just not paying attention. There we go. I think it looks quite nice. And now I'm gonna add some seating over here so that people who are waiting to check in can wait in here. Or maybe there can be people who like want to just hang out or something. So let's see what sort of now let's see for the place. Thinking I think this might be too close to the corner. And in the corner we can have like a potted plant or more decoration. Well, they shouldn't in this version, but I'm gonna add some blocks as future proofing. And lastly, a table. I think I'm gonna go with a white one. And like off center. It's like I like to imagine that sort of the jets might have moved these things around a bit. Now it's time to start working on this part. And the first thing I'm gonna do is add the boundary again, sort of trim of blocks around the couch. I mean, around the carpet. So I think I'm gonna get rid of it for now. I'm gonna decide on this later. Anyway, now it's time to continue working on the floor. For this, thinking I think I'll expand the reception desk over in this direction. This way I can sort of add the planks around going around this place. Which means that I can add the blocks going like this. And I can do this design, which looks kind of nice, I think. Anyway, now that it is on, I'm just gonna finish these walls. And I'm also gonna add some paintings over here. I think mentioned a brown painting. I think I'm gonna use like blanks for that, although I'm gonna use orange. So there we go. Anyway, I think this will be it for this stream. I think that I have built enough. I was kind of hoping that I would be able to do more. I was hoping that I would be able to finish the first floor in this stream. So I think I'm gonna try and finish this hotel stream. Otherwise, I might need to finish it and other streams, and I suspect that it will take a long time to finish. Also, right, since you weren't here at the start the stream, I think you should check out the start of the stream to see what I've built in within the streams. But anyway, that will be it for the stream, and I'll see you in the next one. Is there something you want? Sorry, I think I will check it out another time. I feel kind of tired, so I'll check it out and then message you on Discord. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.